Most of the enforcers of this are white liberal women, 45 or older, not
Fair.
it's just a fact, and their cucked husbands.
Alex Jones, you guys know Alex Jones from InfoWars, has been suspended by all the big tech things and everything else, but he's still here because usually censoring people doesn't stop them. Well, he is officially back on Twitter. Here's a tweet from Elon. He did it by popular vote. Reinstate Alex Jones on this platform, and 70% of basically 2 million people said yes. Now, for just the purposes of today's show, I'm actually not going to take a position on Alex Jones. I have no problem with him being back on the platform at all. But in terms of his politics or things that he's done or Sandy Hook or anything else, let's just forget that for a moment. The reason I mention this is because if you think of all of the things we've talked about today, all of the things happening in the country right now, do you think that Alex Jones is really the problem here, or is there some other problem? Well, another guy who is kind of becoming problematic for the system is Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson, as you know, has a new show on X/Twitter, and he brought Alex Jones on over the weekend to talk about this neo-racism and what is happening in our society.
To race-based systems, because that is a very effective
But
system.
why do people put up with that? I mean, like if they were doing that to Malaysians or Filipinos or Hondurans, I would say you can't do that. You're not allowed to attack people on the basis of their race. I'm sorry, not in a country like this, because the country will fall apart and it's immoral.
I totally agree.
But nobody says anything.
Well,
I don't get it.
The reason they've done it is most of the enforcers of this are white liberal women, 45 or older, not
Fair.
it's just a fact, and their cucked husbands. And so to them,
Can I just say that the phrase cucked husbands is the best?
it really is true. So if you get around these white liberals, they live in the whitest areas. They're totally scared of anybody with brown skin, but they virtue signal constantly and then say, yes, the white people are bad. You know, the white people are evil. And, you know, these, I mean, I've even seen white people sit up there and say, yeah, it's time to deal with these crackers. And they're a white person saying that. So
From Jackson.
Okay, so there's some interesting stuff there. The phrase cucked, which some of you don't know, basically, do I have to define this on a daytime show? It's basically like a guy, and it's generally like sort of a liberal guy who tends to be married to this white liberal woman who lets other guys bang his wife in front of him. Like that's like the literal meaning of it. But it's more like, oh, you just have no authority over yourself or your marriage or your family anymore. And what has happened largely is that these white liberal women, now I'm not going to play the identity politics game, but let's say these leftist people who largely are women have been more bamboozled by this stuff. They are married to these guys. And the thing is, and this was, I think I came up with this theory about 6 months ago. This is what I call the blowjob theory. Guys like getting blowjobs every now and again. All guys of all stripes and all walk of life. It's a thing. Everybody in the room nodded right there. Everybody. We've got a special guest and everybody was like, yes, we do. Now, if your wife is a crazy leftist lunatic and you're like, you know, that Donald Trump is not totally a Nazi, or I don't know, maybe I don't want to get injected with that stuff, but she's a leftist lunatic and you have to debate that every night at dinner, at some point you kind of become a cuck. Because you might want a blowjob. And again, is it fair to say everybody wants a blowjob, okay? So that's basically what Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson are saying. The deeper point that Tucker's talking about there, really though, of course, is that this anti-white thing, and which again, it's just connected to the anti-Jew thing now, right? Because Jews are just primo whites, according to this idiotic movement, whatever you want to call it. The bigger idea is that if this was about anybody else, he's right. If this was about Nicaraguans, if this was about Vietnamese or anyone, we would all know it's evil. With this thing, we have allowed it into the system, and now we have to start purging it from the system.